All of a sudden, we hear these voices all around us shouting, "Put your hands in the air! Put your hands in the air! Freeze! Stop where you are! Put your hands in the air!" And sure enough, I put my hands in the air. My neighbor puts her hands in the air, and right then we're surrounded by police who have their guns drawn. And they quickly realized that it's just this lady and this little kid, and they put their guns away. Yes, it turned out that while we were living apart from my dad, he had made friends with a guy in the mental hospital. When they both were released from the mental hospital, he decided to become roommates with this guy. He moved this guy into my old bedroom. I guess it turned out the story went that this roommate was also schizophrenic like my dad, and my dad was sitting watching television, and this paranoid schizophrenic, for whatever reason, he took a 20-pound sledgehammer and he snuck up behind my dad and he bashed him over the head with the sledgehammer, and then he ran out of the house into the woods. And my dad had just had this traumatic brain injury, and the only thing he could think to do is call my mom. And he told her, "The guy just attacked me, I'm bleeding from the head, I don't know what's happening." And then he passed out while he was on the phone with my mom. And so my mom called 911 for my dad, and then next she called the neighbor and said, "Can you go see what's going on?" She doesn't know what's going on. She's thinking he's just having another episode, he's imagining something, or she couldn't imagine what had just happened. The police had gotten there before me and the neighbor got there, and so when they heard us coming through the woods, they thought that we were this guy that had attacked him. That's why they all drew their guns, and they thought it was this armed and dangerous paranoid schizophrenic walking through the woods, but really it was just a 10-year-old kid and the neighbor walking through the woods. And that's why the police had been shouting at us and pulling their guns on us. But it was pretty intense. But so they found the guy hiding in the woods, and the way they found him was he left this trail of places where he had tried to start fires. And so it turned out that this roommate that my dad had moved in, he was trying to start a forest fire because we lived out in the forest. He had tried to start all these different fires, but the fire wouldn't take. And they followed all these little piles, and that's where they ended up. It led them straight to him, where he was trying to light another fire. So this roommate got arrested and he got taken back to the mental hospital. And my dad had a traumatic brain injury from getting hit over the head with a sledgehammer. It split his head open. That's how bad it was. And I remember my mom took me into this meeting with her, and the doctors in the hospital were saying, this is a game changer with his mental illness.